We have DeAnna Lorraine on the show. She is author of the book, Making Love Great Again. Okay? Making Love Great Again. Boy, do we need that on so many levels here in the country. DeAnna is known as the red-pilled relationship and dating coach because she is the only dating and relationship expert that talks about and addresses with the real issues that are affecting men and women in dating and our intimate love lives and relationships. She wrote the book on it. She is a revolutionary thought leader on these issues. She throws out political correctness and tells it like it is always. Thank you for coming on the Erin Cruz show. DeAnna.
Good to be here.
Yes. Yeah. We're so excited to have you here because we need love on so many levels in this country, relationship-wise and otherwise. So tell us about your book.
Well, my book is about how the state of America is directly correlated to the state of our relationships. And it's no surprise that relationships, that America used to be booming and successful and thriving, and we had a great country, and we also had great citizens, and we also had great families, and the relationship between men and women was thriving. And it's really no surprise that, you know, over the last 60 years, our traditional American values have been slowly deteriorating and replaced with liberal, progressive values. And look at the state of America today, and look at the state of our relationships.
Absolutely.
They're directly correlated.
They are.
What's the common thread? Liberal, progressive values, which are actually regressive, not progressive at all. Any patriotic person knows that. And so I talk about how do we repair the state of our country, and how do we make America great again? One of the big aspects of that is through making love great again.
That's absolutely it. And I have to tell you, you gave me a copy of your book. I love your book. Everybody should read your book. Even if you don't love love, you should love reading her book because knowledge is power, and it really does give you a good perspective. And even if you don't like Donald Trump, you should read her book because it will help you understand some other things that are maybe out of your mind space that will enlighten your life. Everybody can take something from a book, right?
Right. And it's not just for singles or dating. It's very much for people in relationships. It's about restoring the family unit, and it's about being better citizens in our country, right? Having our values that we used to have that have made America so great, which are just now missing. And it's really been part of a larger agenda, but you know, here we are today. What are we going to do about it? That's the most important question.
Right, exactly. And what are you doing about it? You've written this book and hope to help transform the mind and impact the communities around you. So now, tell us a little bit about your background and what it is that you do. I hear you're one of the premier experts on love.
Yes, I'm a relationship and dating coach and matchmaker. That's how I started out my business about 9 years ago. I can't believe it's been this long, but
a decade almost.
Right? Almost a decade, and
we don't look a decade into any expertise.
Yeah, right. I'm 25. So when people ask me how old I am, I just say I'm going to give you a range. I'm between 25 and 35. Be okay with that. Yes. So I started my business a while ago, and you know, I'm a child of divorce. My parents were divorced when I was young, so I kind of set on this mission to help save the world and prevent divorce and create happy marriages and relationships. And what I found over the last decade is that there has been a drastic decline in relationships, in the relationship between men and women in the family unit. And there is, you know, been a lot of corruption in the way that men and women have been treating each other. And I'm seeing
perpetuated by the media, by the way.
Perpetuated by the media, by leftists and feminists, which we could get into later. But it was becoming so blatantly obvious because I would see the aftermath of men and women. I would work with them every day of all ages. And they're like, everyone wants the same thing at the end of the day.
Isn't that, I mean, they might have minor variations. Is that what you found? They have minor variations, but really they want a good life. And those people who want to be in a relationship, they want to have a good relationship.
Yes, they absolutely do. But then why is it so damn hard to connect? Everyone wants love, but nobody is connecting anymore. The birth rate is at a historic low. We're below replacement level. So it never happened in history before in the U.S., and marriage is on the decline. And for the first time in history, the very concepts of marriage, family, and even the concept of gender, for God's sakes, is under attack. And
right.
it's, and it's really, we've reached these scary times where, we might not even have marriage in a couple of years. That might just be.
Let's not say that. Let's not think that. We really have to get to the place of realizing that, what's made us great is our strong family values, our ability to have, long-standing relationships and instilling those values from generation to generation. But like you said, it's a societal breakdown. Like I said, perpetuated by the media. So how do we combat that? How do we combat that besides buying your book?
Yeah, thanks. The media is more like an accomplice to the crime. I would say the real perpetrators are leftists, the new left, and feminists. They really seem like they're dead set on destroying the family unit and dividing up men and women. And really dividing up this country, and really the ideologies of leftism and the modern waves of feminism really is just another part of, it's underneath the leftist umbrella. They're really anti-family when you look into it. That none of their or what they promote, they're not promoting the traditional nuclear family. They are promoting and glorifying single motherhood or LGBTQIAZ families. And they're promoting pretty much anything but the importance of the traditional family, and have changed the legal system so that you can actually are more incentivized to get divorced than stay together. It glorifies sex and violence and a culture of hedonism. So the media is really an accomplice to that ideology and that greater agenda, but we it's corrupted our values at such a level that we really need to work on the culture and spread the values of conservatism and, traditional American values, because they did have it right. If you look at the statistics and experiences of those of the past, they did have it right for the most part.
Right. So, I agree with you, but I think it's even bigger than that. And don't call me a conspiracist. Call me a conspiracist. Whatever you want to call me, you can call me it.
I'm on the same wavelength.
I'm a realist, okay? And the realism for me, I see it's not just a leftism issue. It's not just a progressive issue or a feminist anti-male issue. It is literally a war on America issue. We have allowed people to infiltrate our nation with other kinds of ideologies and thoughts and let these kinds of perversions take over, if you will. And no one, very little, have we seen people combat it. And it's a really big problem. And I don't think Russia or China or any of these other countries have any one problem about our low birth rates or our issues with family or any of the issues that come with that whole dialogue right there. And that to me is disturbing, because I see that as more of the socialist side, the communist side of things. And I know that seems maybe extreme to a lot of people, but I think that it's a problem. It's a huge control problem. Issue.
You're so right, because this isn't just a war on America. It's a war on our very souls. This is not just a physical battle. It's very much a spiritual battle.
Absolutely.
Of truth and lies. What's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's evil.
Because what we see is what's up is down, what's left is right, what's wrong is now right. Correct?
So creepy.
So,
and those are, Marxist tactics.
So you work towards, then, with your coaching, you work towards bringing that communication of the mind to these individuals and connecting them with people who are like-minded and nurturing their ideas about love and kind of bringing some reality to their scope of life. That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's a hard job.
It's a very hard job, especially now. And that's why I've kind of migrated from being just a relationship coach to I wasn't able to keep my mouth shut anymore about these issues that I see. Like, here's the culprit. So about a year and a half ago is when I wrote the book, and when I started writing the book. It came out this year, And I'm like, I need to start speaking out about the real issues that are affecting relationships and dating and marriage and the family unit, because no one else is. Everyone is too afraid of political correctness. Everyone's too afraid to speak out against feminism or
Right.
These liberal ideologies that are pretty wacky.
That are breaking our nation and our families apart.
Our nation.
And spiritually, you know,
Yeah.
I look at things, I'm a Christian, and I look at things from a spiritual perspective.
Yeah.
And it's a war on America. It's a war on the family. It's also a war on our very souls, as you said. And, you know, what is benefiting the kingdom of heaven, not tearing down of the family unit. You know, and I think that a lot of people are lost, and they're getting more and more lost. And it's hard to snatch them back from everything that seems right and good in their mind, that feels good, that works for them. You know, getting back to the place of sanity and realizing that is, you know, their life is not bringing actual fulfillment.
Yes.
In what they're doing. And you probably have seen that a great deal. People are unhappy. So as much as they can be let to do whatever they want, make whatever choices they want, not that we want to control their choices, they still seem unhappy.
Exactly. In fact, statistics have shown that they're more unhappy now than they were before.
Right.
And you know, our country, I love how liberals like to deny this, but our country really was built on Christian values.
Judeo-Christian values, yes.
You know, the founding fathers had Christianity in mind when they built our country, and it was, you know, God divinely inspired this country. So when we stray too far from that, the reason why we have so many personal liberties and freedoms here, unlike any other country, was because we have the freedom, but with the prerequisite that we have an underlying Christian values and we follow the 10 Commandments, right? And we have a strong moral compass.
Right.
That's how freedom can work in that extent. But when we have all this freedom combined with a horrible moral compass, like we have now, a terrible, broken moral compass, that's when we run completely amok and cause all sorts of destruction to the country, which is what's happening now. So we really need to stick together and go on a crusade of just raising more awareness and having people hopefully wake up more.
I do believe that there are a lot of people waking up, and mind you, that the small amount of people that are actually part of the LGBTQ community, Q, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And now, if that's your life, that's your life. If that's your choice, that's your choice. I'm not saying anything about that. But what I'm saying is that this particular group, populace, is very, very small percentage-wise. Mm-hmm. The people that we hear speaking out are all the people who don't want to offend anybody by saying where they stand. You know, and like you said, you got to the point where you just couldn't hold back. You needed to just start speaking out, speaking truth, and coming out with maybe those ideas that aren't easy on the ears, maybe that aren't popular, but you're brave. And it's very interesting to me today that to say the truth is actually a brave action. You know, but we're proud of you. We're proud of you for doing that. I do it every day. Sometimes it's a little scary with the feedback you get from people, but it's important. But that group, I think it's important to say, they're small.
Yeah.
They're a small group, and a small minority. And so who are you speaking to in your book? Are you speaking to everybody? Do you talk to just those people who want to see change in their lives?
I really am speaking to everyone. I mean, I obviously people are going to be more drawn to the book who are personally seeking that thing that's missing. So they're seeking a partner, they're wanting to get married, or they're already in a relationship or marriage and they want to improve their marriage. But the other thing is, it's so much a political book as well. It's a story about American values and restoring our country through those American values, which has been the missing link and the reason for such chaos these days, not just between men and women, but because of the country.
So I would almost say that somebody who's in the LGBTQ community should get your book so they can better understand why our country is suffering the way they're suffering. Because I just don't even think, I think so many people are just disconnected and they don't understand the big picture. Or maybe they do and they just, I don't know. But I think it's written, because I've read it, I loved it. I think everybody should read it. I think it's written for everyone, and especially the people who may think that they might not like it. Read it, and give it away.
Yeah, feminists and liberals They're going to get a lot of like gut checks throughout. I had some women say they cried throughout my book because of the reality checks. They laughed in my book. They threw my book. And then eventually they took the book back, and they eventually learned a lot from it and grew a lot from it. So that's kind of I guess that's a positive. That's a win. So that's my goal. It's definitely a transformative kind of book that's going to make you think and hopefully make you grow.
Right. Growth is hard. Mm-hmm. Growth is really hard. You know, it's one thing to say you're going to change and grow. It's another thing to actually do it. And like you said, through the book, you know, and then picked it back up. And, you know, we don't have to agree. We don't always have to agree on everything. And that's kind of like the all or nothing mentality is also killing America. You know, those values of respect and understanding and listening to somebody else's perspective is also a challenge.
It is, but you don't really grow unless you're hit with the truth. You're smacked in the face with the truth, and it is going to be uncomfortable. Truth can be really uncomfortable for people, especially in this kind of very liberal bubble that they're sheltered from truth because of political correctness and not wanting to hurt their feelings and safe spaces. But it's necessary.
But they can say what they want to say.
I know. That's the
and don't be offended. And if you're offended, there's something wrong with you. You're racist, you're genderist, you're a somethingist, you're a ist. So I think that's kind of out the window, don't you? I mean, that's my new thing is don't tell me how to think. I won't tell you how to think, you know,
exactly.
And hear me out, I'll hear you out.
Exactly. We've lost that respect. You know, another thing to your point that we've kind of lost is that socialism, and I'm just appalled that woman from New York ran and won on a socialist platform. Very disturbing. But
I just want to call them communists because really down in the core of it, that's what they want.
Same damn thing. But it's going to stamp out. I mean, I don't even think all these kids and these, you know, college kids and young folks that are voting for these people, they have any idea of the implications of socialism and the long-term impacts of that. But it really does stamp out the American dream. The American dream says that we come here and we can have every opportunity as everyone else. And there's some natural competition with capitalism. You know, there's natural competition, and some of them are going to make it, some aren't, but basically...
Or some will struggle and eventually will.
Yes, and they will, but it's about the struggle, and it's about that, you know, that will to succeed and having that strength, perseverance, and commitment that gets you through, and having you get through and succeed based on merit and those qualities of persistence rather than, you know, just because you're a woman and you need to reach a quota, or because you're a Mexican and you need to fulfill that spot. If everyone is equal in the socialist way, then it definitely stamps out the American dream and innovation and perseverance.
Well, we've seen that with Obamacare, didn't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality is socialism, and we've seen it across the globe. Socialism doesn't work.
Does not.
And it creates basically you have two classes. You know, you're either in the winning group or the serving group. All you do is work for the man. And we have $20 trillion in debt. And we have major societal issues. To see that woman get, you know, make that top slot, it is frightening. It is absolutely frightening. And again, I agree with you. People don't know what they voted for. Many of them. Some of them do. But many of them don't understand the ramifications. And I've always seen it from this perspective, and this is kind of more political end, is that part of that reason is for 8 years, Obama was in office. That wasn't Trump. Trump did not run up $10 trillion in debt. No. And Obama, okay, he ran on not one dime. And he ran up $10 trillion in debt. Now, how have we really super felt that as Americans? We really haven't seen any realization in our pocketbooks of what that looks like. I mean, we've had inflation, we've had other things. I don't believe that the people, these children, they don't realize until they move out of their parents' homes and they live their life and they pay taxes. They don't realize the true value of a dollar. And, you know, with all that debt, I don't know they realize the implications of Obama's policies.
I don't think they do either. And, you know, what you said, it's not just about hitting us in the pocketbooks or having us really feel that effect. I think it's just having a leader who is a role model for sticking up for our economy and, fighting for us to have a strong economy and a strong country. And even if he's nickel and diming things sometimes, I know he cuts regulation after regulation.
Oh, Donald Trump? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's wonderful to have somebody who supports,
cares about our wallets and
our people.
Right. And Nancy Pelosi just calling it, oh, these are just crumbs. I mean, speak for yourself, but even if it's a couple $100, it's
your
still.
Your crumb is somebody else's bread.
There we go. I like that.
I mean, your crumb is somebody else's bread, and actually could be somebody else's entire pantry.
Right.
So, I've been a single mom. I've been there, and life hasn't always been. So, yeah, I mean, what is Nancy Pelosi thinking? I mean, seriously, we have to get back to the place where, we are making love great again. And I mean, how do you think we can do that? I mean, DeAnna, sometimes I get this feeling that we're so far off, we're so out of touch, but I know we can, but what are your thoughts? How do you think we can accomplish this?
A big part of making America great again, I do think, is making love great again. Right. And love is not just love between men and women, because that is fundamental, right? God created men and women to be each other's helpmates. Right. And when we have a strong relationship between men and women, then we have a strong family. And we know that strong families create a very strong country. And the left and socialists and whatnot, the biggest threat to them is a strong family. Mm-hmm. Because a strong family can think for themselves. They typically have strong values. Like, they're forced to be reckoned with when you have a nice shelter of your family there.
Right.
And that support, right? You're much less easily influenced by outside negative influences and big government.
Right.
Key to that, making America great again, is absolutely making love great again between men and women, and stop all this, man bashing, this very toxic feminism stuff that's going on. And number two is also making love great again between our people. Right. I mean, we have really gotten to a very scary point where hate is becoming cool.
It is. It is.
Not for people like us, luckily, but for a scary majority of the country, they think it's cool to be outraged every day and spew hate and division, and all of that is evil. It's darkness, and it doesn't come from love. It doesn't come from light,
and it doesn't come from God.
It does not come from God. God wants us to be united. Our founding fathers wanted us to be united, because united we stand, divided we fall.
Right.
We're seeing that right now. I mean, that was one of the keys to making our country so great and why it's so exceptional. And they are constantly trying to divide us. So when people are in that constant state of hate and victimhood and divisiveness, we are certainly continuing to make America fall. So
right.
Love is more, when I say make love great again, it's not just between men and women and the family, which is very important, but also we need to start living and acting out of love towards our fellow Americans, and not in ways that are hateful and divisive and competitive.
Right, and that goes back to like the Nancy Pelosi's and the Maxine Waters and the Feinsteins and the Harrises. All of these people trying to cause divide and making these comments and bashing our president and alienating the people and dividing. It's not coming to the place where we can have conversations, find solutions, work towards problem solving. And like you said, being able to have the conversations and the compassion for one another and the love and caring for one another, to be able to have that strong place where we are making America great again. And that's a very good point. That's a very good point. So now, I mean, I have a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going with this book? Have you thought of, or has anybody talked to you about making a movie or going one step further? I mean,
some people have, but I think it would be phenomenal.
I was actually talking online with tech support today, and somebody mentioned to me, they're like, oh my gosh, that would make a really great movie. And I thought, oh wow, you know what, that really would. And they brought up a good point that, and they shared with me that they're a Christian. They said, we need more love. Mm-hmm. We need more compassion. And, we fought for our families, when we came here. escaping England, if you want to call it escaping England, declaring our independence.
Yeah.
And it was out of the want to have a good place to bring your families to build up a nation, a free people, to be able to worship how they so choose and everything else. So now, you've thought about it? You haven't gotten that far? I mean,
I would love, I'm so open to it if anyone wants to approach me with an idea or someone who knows how to create a movie.
Right.
Obviously, I need funding. I do have a GoFundMe for Making Love Great Again movement. So
that's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, because I consider it kind of like the hashtag walk away movement. More people are joining this movement of walking away from the Democrat Party to just a free thinker, a conservative person, or somebody who's maybe not even conservative, but someone who's ditching those toxic liberal and democratic values. So what I'm trying to imagine, if there was a hashtag Make Love Great Again movement where just more and more people joined in, and they said they're denouncing all this hate and they're ready to make love great again and stop with all this social.
That'd be wonderful. That'd be wonderful. I do think, God is love. Love is light, and we are living in such a dark place. And it's really interesting to me, even the alienated progressive left, who is so left, they talk about how dark things are and how divisive things are and how horrible things are. And you think, well, aren't you a part of that? I mean, can't we talk about how to change that? I think deep down, as humans, as people, they want the same thing. They want a good life for their family and for themselves. And if they can get to that place of realizing we just maybe socially are on different wavelengths, that there might be a little bit more cracking and a lot more walking away. But, I do think it's a movement and it's a process. Like you said, you're fighting for conservatism, as many of us are, and it's a valiant fight. So can you give us a little bit of a recap? Tell us your name, tell us a little bit about yourself, and also where people can find your book and also get involved in the hashtag Make Love Great Again movement.
Pioneered by Erin Cruz. And
anything we can do, right, for the country.
So my name is DeAnna Lorraine, and I am the author of Making Love Great Again. This is my book, The New Road to Reviving Romance and Winning at Relationships. It is for singles, it's for couples, it's for people who aren't even interested in relationships, because it's also a book about American values and American exceptionalism and how that's tied into our relationships. So you can get the book on Amazon. Just type in Making Love Great Again and grab the book, and would love it if you wrote a review too.
Yes, and reviews are good.
Yes, reviews are good. I do a podcast too, a Make Love Great Again podcast, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
What time?
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Okay.
12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific Time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Go to my channel at DeAnnaLorraine.com. DeAnna Lorraine 7. That's my YouTube channel. And that's why I talk about all the kind of pull in the current events of the day and how they apply to these themes of the book and Making Love Great Again. So definitely tune into my podcast. I think you'll really like it. I go into in depth with a lot of these themes. And then hashtag Make Love Great Again.
Yes, spread it all over social media. Make sure you go to her website, check her website out. That's DeAnnaLorraine.com. That's DeAnnalorraine.com, right?
Yeah.
I want to spell that because, it's not Deanne, it's Deanna.
Deanna. So. And if people want to be so kind and generous, in my GoFundMe, there is Make Love Great Again GoFundMe, and it outlines an itemized list of where I'm going to put those funds to.
Oh,
and,
wonderful.
T-shirts and hats for Make Love Great Again, like the red hats, and
wonderful.
Lots of cool stuff that we need for the movement. So I would always appreciate it. Of course, you don't have to, but anything is appreciated.
Well, we're in full support of you, and you're working towards making love great again. That's for sure, Deanna. Thank you so much for being on the show. We really would love to have you on periodically and talk about, some of the topics going on and some of the struggles. We're having what's called the Patriot Connection and also the Candidate Connection on every week, where we talk to patriots and candidates. And it'd be great to have your insight on because there's so much going on and the people are so wanting solutions.
For
and
sure.
your insight would be valuable. So we would welcome you on the show again.
Yes, count me in anytime.
Yes, wonderful. Well, thank you, DeAnna, and God bless you.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Erin Cruz Show, visit us online at erincruz.com. That's ERINCRUZ.com.